Hello everyone and welcome back to the FIDE World Rapid Championship 2022 with what could be the game of the FIDE World Rapid Championship. It is Daniil Dubov, or rather Anish Giri with the white pieces against Daniil Dubov, and this game is an absolute masterpiece. I haven't seen all the games, but this does feel like it could be the game of the championship. Let's dive straight into it and see what happened here. If you haven't seen Dubov's game against Nihal Sarin, do check that out as well, as it's really awesome one. So let's check it out. Anish has the white pieces and he opens with knight to f3. He goes for the reti. We have pawn to d5 and now g3, going for the King's Indian attack. g6, bishop to g2, both players fianchetto their bishops, d4 and knight to f6. And here we have c4 and we transpose into the Neo-Gruenfeld defense. We have c6 by Dubov, and here Anish trades once, captures, and knight to c3. Now Dubov castles. We have knight to e5 by Anish, always an excellent square for the knight, and the position is a fairly standard one. Here you will often see an e6 move or knight to e6 move, but Dubov goes for what could only be described as a true Dubovian move, and that is knight to e4. So it's a straight out pawn sacrifice. There is no other way to explain this, and the question is always the same: what does black gain by sacrificing this pawn? And okay, Anish accepts, of course. Knight captures on e4. He knows from theory that this can't be good, so the best way to refute it is to by accept it. D captures, and now there is a game where castles was played, but Anish boldly captures the pawn with bishop captures on e4, and it is now as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So how can Dubov continue this? Well, he offers another pawn, knight to c6. It's not so much offering a pawn, because if you go for the pawn, then your d4 pawn will become weak. He has a very different idea. Knight captures on c6, b captures, and now, like I said, if you go for the pawn, then, well, okay, rook to b8 is always strong. The d4 pawn will be hanging, so maybe it's too ambitious of a pawn grab. So Anish goes bishop to e3. He just defends his d4 pawn, but now bishop to h3. For the price of that one pawn, Dubov gets to keep Anish's king in the center of the board, but only momentarily, because pawn to f2, he will castle artificially with king to f2 and then bring the rook into the game, and Dubov now goes rook to b8. Now puts pressure on the b2 pawn. Anish defends it, and now rook to b4, adding more pressure to that central d4 pawn, and Anish plays king to f2. You should also consider something like queen to d2. You put pressure on the rook, and then as Dubov defends it, you can play even rook to c1. Now put pressure on the c6 pawn. But Anish goes for the instant artificial castling, king f2, and now Dubov strikes with pawn to f5. And now, how do you play this? It doesn't matter where the bishop goes, Dubov's next move will be the same, so Anish decides to grab a pawn while he's at it. Bishop captures on d5, and now look at this, pawn to f4, completely shattering Anish's king side. Now, if you capture with the bishop, that's not really good. Bishop captures on d4 check will connect with the rook, so Anish plays g captures on f4, and now, look at this, pawn to e5, sacrificing more pawns. And okay, nothing better than d captures on e5. Anish has to accept this, and this does give him a passed e pawn. But now queen to h4 with check, king to g1, and now how do you continue the attack? All of the squares are covered here, so you don't have any way of continuing checks towards the white king. Rook b captures on f4. Brilliant stuff by Dubov. This frees up the g5 square for the black king at the price of the exchange. So bishop captures, queen captures, and now Anish plays queen to d5 with check. Up until this point, Anish was defending spectacularly, and here he has to find queen to c1 if he's to continue defending, because it guards the g5 square, but also the c5 square. To give you an example, now if queen captures on e5, you can just play king to f2 and everything is fine. White is now defending. You don't have any checks. You don't have queen to c5 check winning the bishop. So that's why queen to c1 is such a strong move. But Anish spent a lot of time trying to defend the position right from the start, right from that Dubovian move, and he went queen to d5 check. But now after king to h8, it proves that it is just too difficult to defend this. He plays queen to e4, but now he does not control the g5 square. So queen g5 check, king f2, and now rook to f4, kicks away the white queen, queen to d5, and now queen to h4 with check. And now the problem is if you go king to g1, look at this, bishop to h6, and white resigns. There is nothing you can do here. The main threat is if white, let's say, pushes his passed pawn, wants to deliver some checks or something, rook to g4 check. And now after pawn captures, bishop to e3, a spectacular double bishop checkmate. So instead, after queen to h4, Anish is forced to seek shelter elsewhere. He plays king to e3, now rook back to f8, guarding the back rank, but also freeing up the f4 square for his queen. We have queen to c5, queen to d4 would be a bit more precise, but Anish goes for queen to c5, and now queen to f4 with check. King f2, queen to h4 check, Dubov repeats once, but now finds queen to g5 with check. And now if you go back, king to f2, look at this, queen g2 check, king e3, bishop h6 check, king to d3, and now a simple bishop to f5 check, and that's it. Once you play something, even if you just go here, let's say captures, no, even rook to d8 with check, and that's it. You don't have any squares left. You have to go to the c file, and once you go to the c file, you just part with your queen. So that's why after queen g5 check, Anish started running with his king d3, but now rook to d8 with check. The king hunt is, well, already happening. King to c4, bishop to e6 with check. We have king to, if you go king to c3, is just a brutal queen to d2 checkmate. So after bishop to e6, king to b5 was played. Look at the journey this white king undertook. I mean, first f3, then Anish tried castling artificially with king f2, and then the king ends up on the queen side in the opponent's half of the board. Absolutely brilliant. Now bishop to f5, forcing the queen away from the defense of the e5 pawn. So Anish still tries to defend, but now rook to b8 with check. We have king to a4, and now the spectacular queen to e7, threatening mate in 1 with queen to a3. So Anish plays a3, defends the a3 square, and now just bishop captures on b3 with check, and there are no more moves. If you go up the board, then it's just a nice mate in 2, king a6, queen to b6 checkmate. So Anish has to give up the queen. He plays queen captures on b3, rook captures, king captures, and okay, he does have 2 rooks for the queen, but it's a matter of a simple queen to e6 check as it connects with the bishop, and it was in this position on move 36 that Anish Giri resigned the game, and we have yet another spectacular masterpiece by well, what can only be described as a Tal Reborn masterpiece. So truly a remarkable game. And Anish defended pretty much spectacularly up until the point where he missed that crucial queen to c1 defensive idea where it guards the g5 and c5 squares. But in Anish's defense, pretty much every move Dubov played from like after he went for this silly looking knight to e4 was the top engine recommendation. So he played like Tal, but like an engine Tal. So you cannot play against that. And here when Dubov feels inspired, he's just going to crush you. It doesn't matter if he has the white pieces, the black pieces, he will just crush you. And as Dubov was in second place before playing this game, he is now very close to catching up to Magnus. He already played Magnus, so he will have to look for his chances elsewhere. But I mean, what a game. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you ever play a game like this, you will be happy for the rest of your life. But Dubov has this well, this luck that he's able to always play games like these. So yeah, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Jeff Graves, David Rice Oxley, Kevin Clark, Chris Mallon, and Rapid Boss for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the FIDE Rapid World Championship and hoping for more games like this. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.